Hello, fellow Stitchers. I'm Cher Johnston. Welcome to my happy place. In today's video, I'm going to work from this book by Elisabetta Sforza. It's a flower alphabet. And I think there are about half a dozen stitches that I'm going to teach you today. And I'm going to be working on this project that I just started. This is a mystery thing that I'm doing for my sister Sally. And I'm going to put a spray of flowers right here. This is, I think that's a quilt label that I had. I put some other stuff in, other places, but today we're going to do this. And I'm going to put timestamps in the description so that you can skip over the jibber jabber and go straight to the stitching if you'd like. I didn't like the patterns. Well, not that I didn't like them. They were too fat and short, so I made my own. But I did, however, I picked out colors from these. This whole page is like filled with reds. So I picked out my colors from the book, sort of. Then I made a pattern. I just drew an S and then I decided where my flowers are going to go. And then I went over it with this marking pen and so that I could flip it to the back. Then I took my Super Solvy. Here, let me show you the Super Solvy. It's water soluble stabilizer. And it has a rough side. So I put the rough side up because it's easier to draw on the rough side. And I use my charcoal pencil and I drew in the lines. Then I'm going to flip it over so that it's right side up so that the charcoal pencil is underneath the plastic so that I don't rub it all off with my fingers while I'm stitching. I had a person in the comments ask me about needles and how do I know what size the needles are? And I said, that's a very good question because I had the exact same question. I bought these Sewology 16 milliners needles. I got them at Hobby Lobby for $1.50. And I couldn't really tell. You can't really tell. I saw a video from Sarah Humphreys and she talked about sorting your needles. So I bought a brand new package because these are size 3 to 9 and you think 3, 5, 7, 9, 4 sizes. There should be 4 of each size, right? No, not so much. So I took them out of the package and the smallest ones are on the outside and the biggest ones are on the inside. The biggest ones have the smaller number. So what I ended up with was 6 number 9s, and you can see when I put them together like this, you can see that the next size up is obviously longer, right? You can't really tell until they're next to each other. So I have 6 number 9s. I have 4 that are number 7. I have an extra one in there. I have 4 that are number 5, and I have 2 that are number 3. I think that this is a number 1 from a different package. You can kind of tell because you can see that this one's a tiny bit longer. So that's how I know what size my needles are. Okay, so I have my pattern. I have my piece of wanted to share this with you. I decided I would take this and then put it on a card. I have a card labeled 746 in here somewhere. Or maybe I'll just use this ecru. So I took my threads from my thread drops and put them on floss and put them all in this little, I've been using these colors for a while. And then I'm not losing my thread drops. So I'm going to gather my colors and I'm going to base this down to my fabric and then come back and we'll start stitching. Okay, the first flowers, I'm going to do these Hollyhocks. These are the two colors I'm going to use. I have 347 and 3777, and the darker one, the 3777, is in a milliner's needle, a number 3 milliner's needle, and this one is just an embroidery needle big enough to fit 3 strands of the embroidery floss through the eye of the needle. What I'm doing here is a buttonhole wheel. So I started the outside edge, go to the center, and come out next to, I've got a knot back there, next to that with the thread around the back. Pull through this direction, and then just like a buttonhole stitch that goes around in a circle. Now, if you don't like the little spaces between those stitches, you can just add in a little, you can add in little straight stitches between those. I'm going to wait until they're all done and then see what I think. And I'm just going to do a few more stitches here and then finish these off camera. I have a lot to do here. I'll finish those and then come back. So I'm coming up to where I started, and my last stitch, I'm going to go right in to that place where I started there, pull through, and then I'm going to go to the back and end off. For the centers of these flowers, you can do either a French knot or a colonial knot. I'll show you both. French knot, you point your needle from the fabric out and you wrap once or twice around your needle. You could do 3 times, but if you want a bigger knot, you should just get bigger thread. So there's a French knot. I like colonial knots. I don't know why. I just like them. I'll show you that. I'm going to pull back on the thread to make like a backward C and then go this direction and then around this way. There's like a figure 8 there on the needle. I'm going to go back, not in the same hole. I'm holding from the back, holding the needle from the back and pulling that knot onto the needle. And then I'm going to pull through one more time. Back this way. And then around this way. And then I'm going to fill all those in and do those other 2 flowers and then come back and we'll do leaves. Okay, now I have 6, 10, 3 strands and an embroidery needle. And I'm going to do a fly stitch for these leaves right here. I'm going to start in the center at the bottom. And I'm going to go out there. And then I'm going to come up on this side, right on that line there. And then I'm going to hold the thread up there, go back in right across from where I came out, and back up right at the base of that center stitch. Pull through. I'm going to pull this direction and then anchor that down there. Now I might come back in and fill in with some straight stitches there. I'm not always very good about getting those close together. It just takes practice, and I have not practiced enough. Pull this direction, and then now you can see I can't really do a fly stitch there because there's not enough room. I'm just going to go and do a straight stitch there and a little straight stitch here. And I think I will go in here and fill in with a couple of little straight stitches here. You won't tell the embroidery police, will you? All right, that looks good enough. I'm going to finish those leaves. And when I come back, I think we're going to do daisies. Those are fun. For the daisies, I have ecru in an embroidery needle, and then I have 3781 in my number 3 milliner's needle, and the centers are knots, which I'm not going to show you again because you know you can do those. This is a detached chain stitch, which if you're not new to embroidery, I'm sure you've done before. It's also called a lazy daisy. Go in here, the base, not catching your knot at the back, and pull through with the thread wrapped around the needle like that. And then I'm going to pull this direction. And then go back down to the back. Now, in her patterns, she has these little lines. I find them to be very helpful because I don't like to do the petals one right next to the other. I learned in a painting class that if you paint your petals one right next to the other, you can tend to either get longer or shorter or thicker, or go in one direction or whatever. So when you're painting, if you paint random petals around the edges, then they're normally, they turn out more uniform. I found the same thing to be true with embroidery. If I do them all I do, 5 petals randomly, and then go back and fill in, normally works out a little better. And then I'm going to make sure that I do some little buds that are just like 2 or 3 petals. And then we're going to do the leaves for these at the end. Okay, I think you get the idea. I'll finish those. I have DMC Floss 611 and an embroidery needle, and I'm going to do a buttonhole stitch. This is, hold on a second. Okay, this time I have number 611, and I have a heart-shaped leaf, and I'm going to do a buttonhole stitch. It's not really a wheel because it's a heart shape. And I'm going to stab stitch this, which means that I'm going to hold my thread there. I'm going to go down in the center. I'm always going down in the same spot, which is kind of why I have to hold my thread aside like that. And then I'm going to go up along the edge inside that loop and pull this direction. Pull it out, go in the center, go up along that edge, inside the loop, pull this direction, I don't have to keep saying the same thing over and over again, do I? Maybe I do. I don't know. Now again, like with the buttonhole wheel, if you don't like those gaps, you can go in later and fill those in with straight stitches. Now when I get to the tip here, I'm going to go down there and make a nice point there. And I'm going to come back up inside that gap there and down in the center, up inside the loop, along my pattern. You can do this like a scoop stitch, but I found when I did that, it the hole in the center got really big. So this just works out a little better. So again, I'm holding that to the side, go down the center, up on the side, there, inside the loop, and pull this direction. And I forgot to hold my loop open. Well, let's do this. Let's put the needle up there and then put the loop around it. Just making sure I didn't unthread my needle there. And I think we're going to do one more here. There we go, and then I'm going to go down here, anchor that stitch, and then I have just one little stitch here. It's going to connect that. Then the leaves on this, the little flowers on this, are going to be detached chain stitches, which I'm not going to show you because I did show the detached chain stitch. But when I come back, this will be done, and the leaves, and I'll tell you the color because I don't remember. All right, now I have this 640 green, and then I'm going to use 815, the red, along with it for the flowers. And I had to go in and draw in some lines to do my fly stitch. So this time, I'm going to go down here, come back up along that line, and again I'm going through a loop, and pull this direction, and then I'm going to stab down here. And then just going to follow these lines that I drew in. And the next flower that we're going to do is, it's supposed to be lavender, but it's red. So it's kind of lavender, red lavender. Who ever heard of such a thing? Now I'm gonna, sorry, I just hit the camera. I'm gonna end this off in the back, but I'm gonna keep it handy because I might do some more more foliage with this color. So my next needle that I have here has one strand of that tan, brown, green, and two strands of the red. Oh, did you even see that? Two strands of red and one strand of the green. Then I'm going to start, let's start right here. Turn my work around. I'm going to do some bullion knots. I do have a number 3 milliner's needle with which to do said knots. That looks like maybe about a 5 or 6 wrap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Nice. Let's go right over here. This one looks maybe like 7 wraps. And then down this way. My neighborhood's getting noisy, so I'll probably do this off camera. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then what I'll probably do is come up the other side, and then I might fill some in that go right down the middle. These little detached chain stitches are DMC Floss 3777. And I'll be back. All right, before I finish that, before it gets too late, because it's starting to get dark, starting to get a little late, I want to put a rose in here. And I'm going to start with a tiny little, the thread I have is 815, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have a number 3 milliner's needle. And I'm going to do 3 little bullion knots in the center here. And after I put this in, I'm dying to get rid of this 2, 3, 4, 5. This plastic stuff. The and all this stuff in the background starting to make me a little bit crazy because, you know, it doesn't look that great. Makes my design look weird. And I don't know where it might need. Look at it's a little heart. I don't know where it you know, I can't tell where those might need to be filled in. Or and I did do some stitches here, see, along that line, so I know where I want those to go. So this is, I said that already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put in, I'm going to switch to DMC floss 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to put in more around there. And then I have to wash this and wash out the, actually I might not even do that first. I think next I'm going to take out these stitches. I'm going to wash this to get all this plastic off, and the pencil, those pencil marks should wash right out. And then we can kind of see where we're at. And it'll be morning. Well, I'm back and it's afternoon. I washed it out. I don't like this. The white just disappears. So I might put this in. This is a very, very light pink, which I like. Then the other thing that I need to do is next, it gets those little 5-petal flowers. And this is the color from the colors that I'm using. And it seems like it's going to be very, very monochromatic. And I'm debating. I don't know if I'm going to like that or not. But on the one hand, that's kind of what I liked about it. So, yeah, I'm going to take this out and redo those with this color. And then I'll come back and sit and stitch and jibber jabber. Okay, now it's been a couple of days. I washed out, I don't remember if I showed this on camera already or not. This red here, I think, faded into the background here and here. You can't really tell much, but I'm going to just stitch a bit and chit-chat about design, because I did come on and I showed a different color that I was going to do. I had a light pink picked out for that, decided it didn't work and took it out. So I changed colors. Let me just talk about my colors for a minute. I decided this dark brown, that's a little too dark for me. I have 3012, that's the green that I'm using. I have this purple 33. I put in some lavender down there. And then I'm doing these little forget-me-nots with 597. And the centers are 680. I pulled those colors from here and here. I like this turquoise. I like the turquoise a lot. So I'm mainly working on this bottom section here right now. I may take those out and put this yellow in the center there. Don't know, I haven't decided yet. And I may do a lot of this off camera just because it's just easier for me. And I thought I might want to talk about design just a bit. I've just watched Rachel Roxy Creations, doing a fabric collage, which I, I do that way sometimes. Basically, she takes a piece of fabric and then places her fabrics on top of it and pins them down, and then she sews them all down. I've done that before. Let me just show you this. This is the front, and then it's lined. There's the lining, and this is just a little pouch that I keep stuff in. So basically, I put down a bunch of pieces of fabric, and then I do a cantha stitch to, to secure them. You're basically making a new piece of fabric. And this time I just took a bunch of, this is sort of like a crumb quilt, where I just took some fabrics and stitched them together by hand. And then I think what I'm going to do, I haven't really decided exactly what I'm going to make, but I think I'm going to get some quilt batting. If I have thin quilt batting, and do some cantha stitches to stitch it down. I am going to do more stitches, like here I might stitch in some of these leaves. I might put some colonial knots on there. I'm pretty sure I want to do something here. Just put some colonial knots in those red pieces, and just do some here and there. I may do some crazy quilt seams, and I am going to come back on camera and show you what I'm doing or what I've done, or I have an idea of what I want to make, but I don't want to say because I sometimes just change my mind. And yeah, not that she's ever going to know. My sister doesn't really watch my videos. Her daughter does. My niece watches at work. Hi, Wanda. She says she's got all her friends at work watching. I think they work the night shift, and they have a lot of downtime, and time where they just have to be there. And I guess, I don't know, maybe she's just slacking at work. I don't know. Oh, but I did want to also talk about design, because I didn't have a pattern for this. I just made the design myself. Sometimes you have to just start over. um, so one thing is that I used to paint. When you do acrylic painting, if you paint something that you don't like, you can just paint over top of it. When you do watercolors, it's not, you can't do that. Doesn't work the same way. When you do embroidery, you can take out, to a certain extent, you can take out what you've done and redo it, like these flowers. But I'd have to do something in the same spot because it puts holes in the fabric, you know. Um, this, and did um, I did this one, did one flower there, and then I ended off my thread, and then I came back and did another one. I try not to do too many flowers at the same time. Like, I like to end off my threads in case I want to take it out and redo it, because I know that that happens. That happens with me a lot because I like to do my own designs. So what I did here is I put 3 little centers, and I'm going to fill in around those centers. I sometimes, especially if I'm going to do this on camera, I sometimes draw in where I want to go, because when I'm stitching on camera, it's a little harder to I don't know. I don't really see the whole picture, if you know what I mean. What else did I want to say? Oh, I don't know. It's a glorious day here today. I have birds chirping outside my window again, and I love this time of year. Oh, I have a birthday coming up, and I'm trying to decide if I should do a birthday video. This year's kind of special for me. My birthday is 6/7, and I'm going to be 67. So, I don't know, it seems kind of special. And I've changed my mind about birthdays. When I turned 50, it was tough for me. I was not happy about getting older, and, you know, the changes that happen to women of a certain age. Um, and since then, I've decided that it's better than the alternative. And for getting older, um, it's not for everyone, right? So I'm going to celebrate this year. I'm telling everyone. And I like to sometimes do this. I bought myself a birthday present. I did a video where I showed, I did a book review on this new book that I bought. I'm so happy with this book, this new book that I have. I can't wait to get into it. It's it gave me so many ideas and so many things that I want to do, and I have to keep in mind that I need to finish some stuff. You know, I have my Stitch dictionary that's almost done, and I had mentioned that I might like to add flowers at the end, and this is perfect, like a flower sampler. In the book, there's a flower sampler, and I really want to do that. So I need to get out my Stitch dictionary again and, finish that off. I've been cleaning, and I have needle books that I was making to sell that I haven't finished, and I probably need to do that. Finish them up and get them listed on Etsy, and Okay, I'm going to try to keep this to less than an hour, and I think I'm close. And I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just filling in. So I'm going to do more off camera and then come back. And I think I've shown you all the stitches that I'm doing, and I've shown you all the colors. So I'm going to do some green here. Oh, I did want to do that also, because I didn't show you this. Okay, I have my green, and I want to do like a little calyx for this little flower. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to do a fly stitch right there. And then I think I want a little bit more. So I can change my mind and decide to do a little bullion knot here. And then let's do another one over here. And if I decide that it's too much, I can just take it out, because if it doesn't work out, it's good practice. And if it does, then voila. I like it. Now I want to do some, let's do a French knot here. Little one wrap French knot. Yeah, let's do another one of those here. Okay, so now I'm going to do more off camera, and then I'll come back. Okay, here she is. I did a few things. I took out this lavender there and put in some purple lavender. I like that better. I took some of the darker red and I put just straight stitches in the middle there. What else did I do? I put just a little stem stitch there and some turquoise little French knots there. I also did, I don't know how well you can really see this. I put some bullion knots there. I put one little flower there. I put a few little French knots there. And I put a little silk ribbon flower there. So I will put a picture of this on the Facebook page that you can download if you'd like to take a closer look at it. I'll also put a picture of this fabric because you can do a reverse image search on Google and you might be able to find this fabric. I love this fabric. I don't remember where I got it from. This fabric here is from the Pioneer Woman collection, and so is this that you get at Walmart. This is Liberty fabric. Anyway, I'll put those pictures in there. And as always, if you're still here with me, thank you so much for joining me. Hit the hype button on your mobile device and turn on notifications for more videos. I don't know when I'll post again. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye.